Hello everybody, welcome to the Mancave. I'm Rafael Alia, here with my B-host, John Jackson. We are coming to you live from YouTube.com and from Spreaker.com. John, why don't you give away our Twitter tags?
Yeah, please follow us on Twitter at MancaveNY Sports, that's capital NY, a capital M. And at our individual Twitters, at John97Jackson and at Raf_Aaliyah.
You answer that. I'm gonna tell you that we have a busy show today, and if you have not been keeping up with the free agency, the market actually opens up at 4, and we've been getting a lot of deals coming through in the last hour.
So many.
We've been busy before the show, and we're very, very excited to share it with you. So
let's start off with that.
let's get right off the bat. Let's start off. Pick one and we'll talk.
Okay, I'm going to go a little bit further back. We got Maxwell and Alonso, two guys from the Eagles. Eagles have been trading everybody away, including DeMarco Murray, who we'll get to later. But this is a mess, kind of, because they're trading them to the Dolphins, but the trade was called off. But then the trade was called back on.
It's been a mess.
It's just simply a mess. Trades, it happens once in a while, but it doesn't happen all the time. Usually when a trade happens, it happens, goes through. I don't know why. I don't know if they couldn't agree on anything health-wise. Probably not. I don't hear anything bad about their health.
There's nothing that's been coming through.
It's probably just disagreements.
It's just disagreements at this point. There's no saying whether they are going to be traded in the end. I'm assuming they will. I mean,
yeah,
it looks
especially since they're back on.
And the fact that we even got the alert about it shows that it was pretty publicly made. So I can expect that it will be, it'll come through in the next. I'm gonna say today or tomorrow. Because,
probably, yeah.
I don't see them waiting any longer. But let's move on to some moves in the free agent market. Let's stay here in New York for a second because
sure, we got some action in New York.
Oh yeah, that's an understatement. We're gonna go first with Damon Harrison because we knew that this was gonna happen. There have been talks, but he will be signing with the New York Giants. He will be switching locker rooms, as you aptly put it.
Yeah, he'll be going to the Giants from the Jets. The Jets really liked him. He was a great player for the Jets, defensive tackle. However, they couldn't reach an agreement because he believes he's worth a lot. The Jets don't have a lot to spend. The front seven's pretty good, so they're not going to invest.
You take cuts
priorities
where you're able to take cuts, and listen, they're able to take a cut in the front seven because they have Muhammad Wilkerson, freshly franchise tagged. They have
Leonard Williams, up and coming
rookie. So they have options. It's not a huge deal that they were. Your phone is blowing up, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a lot as well.
Yeah, we have a comment from our contributor, Ethan Illers, and follow him on Twitter. That's Ethan_Illers, all lowercase.
Mm-hmm.
Let's address his question, Raphael.
Okay, I'll read it out loud to you. He writes, "Here's why I think Fitz hasn't signed with the Jets yet. He saw Bradford's new contract and thought he deserved more dollar bills. Agree? I'm glad he mentioned Fitzpatrick, and I'm very glad he brought it up with Sam Bradford because
that's a great comparison.
That's a great comparison because yes, he has. This is who you're getting compared to now, Sam Bradford, because of his contract.
Yeah,
but
Bradford's not as good as Fitzpatrick was last season.
Let me be clear with everyone. Fitzpatrick, whether he stays with the Jets, whether he goes away, he's not getting paid what he's gonna be what he's asking. I don't care what team. He's not gonna get paid that amount of money. And you know why? Because in the end, he didn't bring the team to the playoffs. I'm a Jets fan. You're a Jets fan. We'll vouch for Ryan Fitzpatrick all day because he was great for us.
The best single-season quarterback the Jets have ever had in one season.
But
better than Joe Namath.
You have to understand he's not worth that money.
Absolutely.
And he has to understand that he's not worth that money. He can't compare himself to a guy like Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford's younger. He has, honestly, a better arm than Ryan Fitzpatrick has. And, yes, Ethan also just tweeted out that he must sign Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I had just, as you read, I had recently written an article about why the Jets, it's not an option. It's a must. The Jets, it's a necessity. The Jets must sign Ryan Fitzpatrick. That should be number one on their priority list. And I'm going to slow it down here, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's the best option for both sides. The New York Jets, they have a winning football team right now. There's no other time, and we were just discussing this before the show. What time is better for them to win? They have one of the top defenses in the league. Debatably, but I don't think you could debate whether they have the best. But they have one of the best defenses in the league. They have Brandon Marshall, they have Eric Decker, and I guess we could segue into our newest guy, the newest member, tentatively, of the New York Jets, Matt Forte. We'll mention that a little later on, as he is probably going to sign with them. I think that's not official, obviously.
Yeah, it's expected to sign. It's not official because free agency hasn't officially started.
No, 4 o'clock.
However, again, unless this is a Maxwell-Alonso mess, it's going to happen.
So now we have this team that's more than capable of winning right now. Not a rebuilding year. This is not a rebuilding year. This is not when you draft a quarterback or start Bryce Petty. Okay? Because you can't do it. Because those guys need time to develop, and the Jets have a team that's capable of winning now. So set that priority and say, you know what? We have Ryan Fitzpatrick. He needs to be our guy. And if you're Ryan Fitzpatrick, you have to understand no one's going to pay you what you want. Whether you're with the Jets or whether you're with whatever team you want to go to, no one's going to pay you that money. So it's either you retire or you want to play for less money. And if you're Ryan Fitzpatrick and you're going to play for less money, why not stay with the New York Jets? Because you've obviously developed a relationship with Marshall and Decker. You're obviously loved. And let's see what Ethan says. But why don't you elaborate further on that? Let you get your words in, because I want to get my.
We don't have a lot of time, so I say don't focus on the Jets because we have a lot to talk about. So to finish off on Damon Harrison, the deal is $9 million per season. It's $46.25 million over 5 years, and $24 million is guaranteed. So if they decide to cut him, still got to pay him $24 million. But we have a lot of deals. So let's see. Raphael mentioned Forte. The Jets have lost Chris Ivory to the Jaguars. They signed him for 5 years, and the Jaguars, they're starting to look good now. They're starting to spend money because they haven't spent money. That backfield now has Yeldon, and it now has Chris Ivory, along with Bortles, who has been excellent in his second year.
Listen, you want to talk about the Jaguars' offseason moves. I'm going to make a little comparison to the Jets' offseason moves last season. But it comes down to they're more prepared for the future. The Jets are playing for now, as we just mentioned. They're more prepared for the future, obviously, now with Blake Bortles. So, yeah.
Technical difficulties.
It seems a theme. But I still think it's playing.
So again, let's try not to focus on one deal at a time because we have so many, and that's just in football.
The Texans have officially offered Brock Osweiler.
I was just going to mention him.
$72 million over 4 years. That
$72 million.
Lot of money.
Breaking news.
That is breaking. We're going to be giving you news, so you guys got to keep up with us because we're going to be giving news as it comes to us because we don't want anyone to miss anything because we're only here until 4 and we want to go through this together. So let's take a quick breather.
Yeah,
because
we're nearing our first third of the show.
So we're gonna take a quick breather. I'll give you all our information. Stay with us for our second quarter because we still have a lot of NFL to talk about.
Stay tuned.
The Man Cave is on live at youtube.com at the Man Cave ! And also tweeting on Twitter at Mancave NY Sports. Also live on Spreaker at Mancave NY Sports. I'm Raphael Aliyah at Raf_Aliyah, along with my co-host John Jackson at John97 Jackson. And we also want to thank our contributor Ethan Illers from Missouri at Ethan Illers.
_Illers.
Yes.
All lowercase. So we just discussed and mentioned breaking news with the Texans signing Brock Osweiler to a expensive contract. We have to discuss this. In my opinion, You cannot give a contract with that much money to somebody who's unproven and hasn't even played one full season. He's not a winner. Not yet.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm not going to say that he's unproven because he was there for a majority of the season last season.
But with the Broncos defense.
Listen, any quarterback can succeed with the Broncos defense.
That's my
But when
argument.
you had Peyton Manning at the helm, no one was downing his abilities. I mean,
they were.
But not as much as you're saying where you just shouldn't.
But I'm saying if
get
Peyton
Brock
Manning, I'm saying if Peyton Manning got this money right now, I go crazy. Of course, his age is a factor, but I'm saying his age is a factor, just like Brock Osweiler's inexperience should be a factor.
Well,
you don't pay somebody this much money. Not a quarterback.
It's a lot of money,
who's
but
unproven.
obviously they didn't want him to go to the Broncos. They obviously wanted him. The Texans. They needed a quarterback. This is not a cheaper option. I thought that the Texans might draft a quarterback because it would be the cheapest option.
Yeah.
But it looks like they're going to be surprising us yet again.
That is a surprise.
This is an expensive deal.
It is.
It's not more expensive than the Sam Bradford deal. So if we're gonna bash any deal, I
Overpaying
think we have to
for quarterback.
And you know what? That trickles down to Ryan Fitzpatrick. So it's crazy. Ethan is also agreeing with us. He's saying this Osweiler deal is nuts.
Absolutely.
Of course, 100%. Ethan, thank you for keeping up. It's ridiculous. Honestly.
Now here,
this is a lot of money.
I just want to tell you this. RG3 in 2012 had a great season, played the full season and everything like that. I wouldn't give him the money after one season, and he's shown if they gave him the money after 2012, it would be a huge waste. Same thing with Osweiler.
I say Osweiler's more proven. I'm saying Osweiler's more proven than the next quarterback. But in the end, he's not proven to the point where he deserves this money. And I don't know. He especially can't compare himself to Sam Bradford and get.
He couldn't even compare himself to RG3 in his first season.
Because
that's a full season, and he was great, but he still didn't deserve the money.
He was a Heisman winner.
Exactly,
So,
and his first season was great, I'm saying.
So, yeah,
no,
100%. Brock Osweiler has height, he has an arm, so he has potential. But since when are we paying guys for potential? We pay guys for being proven and for being able to play in this league.
Absolutely.
So you have to prove yourself. It's just the rite of passage. You don't get a free ride. Other quarterbacks didn't get a free ride. You don't have that right. But let's move on from Osweiler. We got more.
Yeah. Okay. So we mentioned Matt Forte.
Just put a check mark next to who.
Did you want to talk more about Matt Forte?
I'll mention more about Matt Forte. Obviously older guy, but this to me, and I was telling this to John before the start of the show, proves that the Jets want to win now, and it looks like Mike McCagnon is on that same page where he realizes we have to win now because you don't sign a 30-year-old running back if you want him for 5 years in the future. You sign him because you're looking to make the playoffs this season.
Yeah.
Or else they could have drafted, Mel Kiper had us drafting Ezekiel Elliott first round. If you wanted a running back for the future, you draft Ezekiel, you waste your first round pick on a running back.
Yeah.
But this is obviously not what they want to do.
If you want to go that direction, you do
exactly. And then you draft a quarterback or get a young quarterback, start Bryce Petty this season.
That's rebuilding.
But that's not the kind of team you want to make. This is a team where you have a defense that can win now, a receiving core that can win now. So let's draft a let's pick up a running back that could win now. And now you need a quarterback that can win now. So to me, this is showing Mike McCagnon wants to go in the direction of an experienced team and experienced quarterback. So I'm looking for them to sign Fitzpatrick to a deal that hopefully fits both sides because they're not willing to pay that much. And Fitzpatrick, I think, wants to come back. I think obviously Brandon Marshall wants him to come back.
Absolutely.
That teddy bear charade, but
yeah. So
that's all I wanted to mention.
Well, we also have, we mentioned before, Eagles trying to get rid of everybody. They also traded DeMarco Murray to the Titans. But we're not going to elaborate on that. The Eagles are just, they're nuts right now. Chip Kelly ruined that team last season. I think everybody could agree.
Yeah.
But we didn't mention JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul.
Oh, yeah, we're in New York. Let's mention Jason Pierre-Paul.
He re-signed with the Giants. $10.5 million deal.
Would you consider that were you surprised to hear that, or was
not
it
really
more expected? They've been vouching for him since he got back from his accident. They obviously love him.
He did good last season with one hand that had like only a couple of fingers.
Yeah, for what it's worth, and listen, he's the face of the.
He really is the
he
defense.
Is the face
He's the
of
face
the
of the defense.
Now, listen, I'm not going to call him the leader because I've yet to see him establish himself as a leader.
I don't think you
But
can
I
call
think
somebody
he's
a leader when they blow their hand up.
Yeah, I
with
mean, listen,
fireworks.
he's just not a leader. But he is that face that you need to
Absolutely, he's been around for a
have.
while.
That name that you need to have. The Texans are also now expected to sign Chiefs offensive lineman Jeff Allen. Pretty big name as far as offensive linemen goes. Offensive linemen go, yeah. And that's, again, the Texans making some noise now.
Ethan now mentions you have to give Chip Kelly credit for the winning seasons in Philadelphia. Absolutely. I mentioned last season he tore the team apart. Focusing on last season, he really put the Eagles in a position where you're going to have to rebuild. After what he did last season, you're going to have to rebuild. Questionable decisions, including trading for Sam Bradford.
I think we've...
Although that's probably the best decision he made.
I think this NFL Nation has really went to town on Chip Kelly, and I think I want to talk about a lot more than just Chip Kelly, because I feel like you could bash Chip Kelly all day, and we have bashed Chip Kelly all day. It's unnecessary to do so right now because
we'll see what he does with Kaepernick.
It's a new team, of course, and we got to see what happens to Kaepernick. That's still not
Kaepernick wants out. He's on the 49ers. Terrible last season. Chip Kelly, terrible. But Chip Kelly could use a talent like Kaepernick. That's what some people are thinking. Kaepernick should probably stay and maybe realize his full potential under a Chip Kelly offense.
That's one guy I probably would not mind if he came to the New York Jets.
I wouldn't mind that. No, I think that would be good. Look, if you have Marshall and Decker,
let's go
Marshall
on.
and Decker, any quarterback.
Of course. Let's go. Keep going on.
So that's all the news we have that we're going to talk about there. But we just want to mention a lot of retirements in the NFL recently.
I actually have some more. I have running back Lamar Miller, the Texans.
Texans, okay.
4 years.
That's from the Dolphins?
Yep. 4-year, $26 million deal with $14 million guaranteed. And we also have the most serious contenders for defensive end Olivier Vernon are the Jags and the Giants. So if the Giants want another defensive front man, go for it, Olivier Vernon. Yeah. But the Jags are gonna contest, and we've seen that they've done more than their fair share of contesting so far. They have the money.
Okay, but let's mention those who have retired as of recent.
We're losing some talent.
A lot of talent has been lost this year. As everybody most likely knows, Peyton Manning officially announced his retirement on Monday. It was a tearful speech, and it really very emotional because he has so many fans and he loves football. So he retired officially. We have Matt Hasselbeck. He just retired today, you said?
Matt Hasselbeck, no, he did not just retire today. I believe it was yesterday.
Okay, yesterday. Calvin Johnson retired yesterday. And didn't Calvin Johnson say he had one more season in him?
Calvin Johnson was up and down.
Yeah, didn't he say he was going to play
in
one
his
more?
retirement? No, in his retirement statement, he said
before this.
Before this, he was making noise that he was not going to retire. But apparently he's seen otherwise recently. And it's sad because that's a lot of talent that we really never saw expressed to the best of.
He's been injured the last few years.
He's been great.
Too.
Listen, he in his prime was great, but he had the potential, I feel, to be a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
He's not going to be a Hall of Famer.
You can't be a Hall of Famer with 10 years. You just can't.
9 seasons.
9 seasons.
Less than 10 years. It's we're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to go into the last 10 minutes of our show. So, John, why don't you go do what you have to do, and I'll give our Twitter handles yet again. The Mancave is live on YouTube.com at The Mancave ! And also live on Spreaker at Mancave NY Sports. The Mancave is also tweeting live during shows and during the week at the Twitter handle at Mancave NY Sports. Be sure to follow us and subscribe. I'm Rafael Leah here with my co-host John Jackson, and we also want to thank our contributor from Missouri, Ethan Illers. So let's get into this last. We'll start off with a question again from Ethan Illers. This is not a question. This is more of a statement.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson still has gas in the tank. I don't think his body can take it anymore, wear and tear. You have I think it's wear and tear, but for what is my question, because they're not winning. So he's
Yeah.
taking hits and he's doing whatever he can to win football games with on injuries, and they're not going anywhere with it. What's the point?
Do you think if he's on a contending team, he
Yes.
wouldn't have retired?
Yes, 100%. You see it from Peyton Manning. This is a guy who had neck surgery. He came back. He came back and he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So there's a certain level of passion you have for the game when you're winning.
It could just be emotional too. Maybe not wear and tear on the body. Could be It's probably a combination of both, though. That's most likely. You never know with these football players. Maybe they're just tired. They're done. I mean, they have plenty of money. We know that for sure. They could retire after a year or two and have more money than we'll ever make in our life.
Money's not the
That's not
problem.
the issue.
Yeah, that's not the issue. Rams reportedly are going to sign linebacker Mark Barron to a 5-year, $45 million deal. That's a good amount of money. And they're going to re-sign their defensive end, William Hayes. So that's for the Rams now. We got them getting in on the action. Not big news. I wouldn't call that big news, but news nonetheless.
So I have other stuff that we could talk about. Do you want to talk about it and at the same time go back to the NFL if we get any alerts?
Sure.
Okay.
I think that's a
So
good
we'll
plan.
probably just
Let's
scan
touch
through
on
some of this stuff.
but this is not an NFL show. We didn't advertise for it, so.
Yeah.
Although very well could have been.
This one could have. Absolutely.
So
There's a lot happening. Let's touch on the Knicks and Nets. We won't talk about their losing, although
And
they
we
are.
we don't need to go extensively.
Yeah,
because
we just
have
want to
bigger
mention
news.
the Brooklyn Nets have gotten a GM, an assistant GM, I should say. Do you have his name?
I do. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just say the next thing.
Okay, and Carmelo Anthony of the Knicks said he wants to be ahead of the table in negotiations. You know, when they negotiate for free agents, he wants to be there and he wants to draw them in. So
And the
he
Nets-
wants more power.
The Nets assistant GM, by the way, is named Tragon Langdon. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that.
It doesn't matter, yeah. I knew the name, I didn't know how to pronounce it, so I'm like, might as well give you this one.
But he most recently worked in the Cavaliers front office.
Yeah.
So the Nets started to build up their management staff.
And that's all we have with basketball. Really not much, unless you want to hear us bash
we've
them,
heard
because they've lost so many
We've
times.
heard from the Carmelo front. He wants to. You mentioned.
Yeah, I just mentioned that right now.
They're both losing. So let's move on.
Okay, we got NHL. Mostly
Yeah.
the Islanders we want to touch on. You know why? Because the Islanders, they've won 4 straight.
They have.
And among those 4 straight, they have beaten the Rangers at home.
They've embarrassed the Rangers.
They really did.
This is
And
the
Lundqvist
Rangers,
is out, and that's on the Rangers front. That's all we have with the Rangers.
This is the Rangers team who have beaten the Capitals and then came back to lose to the Islanders to come back and embarrass the Sabres. So
Up and down.
It's an up and down team on a game to game basis, which is not safe when you're going into the playoffs. But nonetheless, you got to do it. You know, you gotta bear with it, and you have to get your team to a winning state before playoffs come around. It's just that's what has to happen if you want to go on. What's going on over there?
Other things. So, you mentioned the
Other things.
Yeah, other things. Not related. So, you already mentioned Lundqvist.
You did actually.
I mentioned Lundqvist. You mentioned the Rangers. I was checking Twitter. Please follow us at Mancave NY Sports, which is what I was on right now.
Yes, we did.
So anyway, moving on. We have PED suspension in the NHL. You really don't hear it a lot, but it's some guy. What team was he on?
Excuse me.
The guy who got suspended in the NHL.
He was on the Coyotes.
Yeah, Coyotes. Arizona Coyotes. Jared Tenorti. I don't know if you
Let me
pronounce
see.
that name. Tenorti.
It's
Good enough. he's not that big of a name. But you usually don't hear in NHL somebody getting suspended.
That was our main point, and that's going to bring us to our next point. Because we have another PD suspension,
But in a
different sport, but it's still a sport that we never thought.
And this is a bigger name. This isn't.
We have Maria Sharapova. You probably heard about it, but we're going to touch on it. The drug she took was not illegal prior to this year, but it was made illegal. She admits to not having read the new forms that came out stating that, and she continued to use it, and now she is suspended. And this could be for 5 years. I'm hearing that max,
Oof.
but
No
she's
mercy.
already had her fair share of sponsorships dropped, Nike
Yeah.
among them.
Again, you usually don't hear a lot of PEDs either in tennis. Serena Williams came out and said, at least she came out and admitted she was failing the doping test.
Yeah, that to me is just a courtesy thing.
But I give him no respect.
No.
She didn't say it before the test. She said it after she took the test.
And listen, here's what I don't understand about her statement. And listen, I get it. I want to leave it alone because she did. She said it and she took the punishment, whatever it may be now. But I don't understand how you say I've been taking this drug that's already not approved by the FDA. And it wasn't illegal before this year, but when the new release of illegal drugs came out, I didn't bother to read it. You know you're taking a drug that is not approved by the FDA, and you're not going to read to make sure that specific drug is not on that list? Like, that bothers me, honestly, because it's not like, I'm not taking any drugs, so I don't read this form because I don't need to. Because, what do I have to... Unless they're going to ban water, I really don't need to look at it.
Do you think that's just an excuse? Do you think she knew?
If it's an excuse, then then don't give it. Then there's no reason to say it. I have a problem with it. If she's lying, and I have a problem with that. If she's not lying, then she's an idiot because she didn't read it.
Either way, she's wrong. She's wrong. She took it.
She took it. I'm not going to dwell on it. I just wish that if you're going to come out and you're going to take full blame and full responsibility for it, take responsibility for it all the way and say what it really is. It really no excuses. You don't have an excuse at that point.
So what we have now is UFC news. We told you last week on our show that Miesha Tate was fighting Holly Holm, and that was for the bantamweight title.
And a chance to face Ronda Rousey for that title. And yes, Miesha Tate took on and beat her in the second round via submission. And that was not the only upset we had because Nate Diaz fought Conor McGregor, who went up 2 weight classes, was it? He gained weight just to fight this guy because he wanted to fight. And he got another win by submission. People are calling it an embarrassing loss. I don't know if I'd call it embarrassing.
2 upsets, though.
I'd call it an upset nonetheless. But yeah, that's what you get. You're talking it up. You have to be ready. But Conor McGregor says, I'm going to take it like a man. And I don't think he's proven us wrong on that. He took it like a man. And I think he's more than ready for his next fight when that time comes. After, of course, recovering from this one. Now we have to look forward to Miesha Tate against Ronda Rousey. The big return of Ronda Rousey. I think that's going to be an exciting one.
Absolutely.
And just news on the NFL front. Chargers now have their deal with Travis Benjamin, worth $24 million over 4 years with $13 million guaranteed. That according to the NFL Network. So thank you to them. Thank you to Adam Scheffner. Thank you for all these guys who are giving us this up-to-the-minute coverage of all this. And thank you also to Ethan Illers for contributing during this broadcast.
Raphael, we have about a minute left. So, why don't we mention something that happened 2 days ago as the Lakers beat the Warriors?
Yeah, they beat the Warriors. Whoop-de-doo. That was their 61st game. As you know, the Bulls were upset their 61st game. Something about that number, I guess. The 95-96 Bulls, if you don't know which Bulls team I'm talking about.
The Bulls team that everybody mentions.
Whatever. It's what it is.
You can't beat the record?
Yes.
We'll finish on this.
Yes, 100%.
So instead of everybody saying, can they beat the 95-96 Bulls, they're going to be saying, can you beat the 2015-16
And
Warriors?
on that, I'm going to make you guys a promise. Next week, I want to talk about that because people are saying, could they beat the 95-96 Bulls? Could Steph Curry beat the 95-96 Bulls? I want to talk about that next week. So that's my little tease for the day. Tune into that. Once again, I'm Raphael Aaliyah.
And I'm John Jackson, and this has been the Man Cave.